All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Region 15 Town Hall. I'm Jason Kirchhoff, your regional coordinator, and we have over 20 participants, I think, online joining us. So thank you so much for being here. We definitely have a information-packed session, so I'm going to jump in and get started. We'll have a look at our agenda tonight. We'll have our welcome. I am so pleased I have Phi Gamma, Sigma's only virtual chapter, online with us to tell us a little bit more about them in ways that we can engage. There are a lot of important dates and deadlines coming up. I'm going to be sharing information on all of that. Then a debrief on our Region 15 symposium, which was wonderful, so well attended. I think we had our highest number of registrations to date for the symposium, 125, both virtual and online, and over 50 students who registered. So just phenomenal turnout, wonderful to connect with so many people from across the region. Delta Epsilon at Large chapter hosted, did an incredible job. Just all the work that happened behind the scenes with our planning committee. This event would not happen without all of those people. So some information on that. We also have a special guest, Karen McKinney from Omega Mu at Large chapter here in Vermont, who's going to be co-chairing the event with me next year. So stay tuned for that. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the first chapter leader consortium for the region. This is a wonderful event being hosted by IOTA Phi at Large. Karen Cianci is online with us tonight and will tell us a little bit about that event. Then we'll have our committee updates. We have some information and tips about upcoming elections, ways that people can get involved both at their chapters and at the international level. And then we'll discuss any other business and certainly take whatever questions people have. So our special guest, we have Rita Gallagher online from Phi Gamma, I believe. Are you with us, Rita?
I am indeed, and I believe that our president, Irvin Ong, is also with us.
Oh, wonderful. Irvin, welcome.
And thank you so much for the warm welcome and happy food day, everyone. So today's food day.
Oh,
And
great. Now I've just allowed sharing. So if you have anything you want to share, but you know, I reached out to Phi Gamma. I think they're doing incredible things, and so many people throughout Sigma don't really understand what is Phi Gamma as the only virtual chapter of Sigma. And I think Rita and Irvin are going to do a great job kind of filling us in. So you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Let me see if it will indeed let me share. Share. Whoops.
Maybe I have to stop sharing mine.
Oh no, I've got it. I just want to make sure I share the sound. What we did was we prepared a short video for you, and then we're here to answer questions or accept comments, concerns, complaints. Irvin does complaints. I do compliments. So thank you so much for the time. We're glad to be here. And if I might, I'd like to take it away.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I did.
Did you press play?
I did press play. Let me try again.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to an overview of Phi Gamma, Sigma Theta Tau International Honor Society of Nursing's only virtual chapter.
My name is Carol Houston, and I had the honor and the privilege to serve as the president of Sigma from 2007 to 2009. This was an exciting time in the organization, characterized by high energy and growth. The recommendations of the steering committee on the formation of a virtual chapter came to the House of Delegates in November 2009 as a proposed resolution. Following rigorous debate at the House of Delegates, the resolution was amended to eliminate the word first, so as to allow for no more than one virtual chapter, and was adopted by an overwhelming majority.
Phi Gamma began as an honor society in 2007 and was chartered in 2010. Today, there are approximately 600 active members from over 40 countries on 6 continents.
The primary goal of Phi Gamma chapter is to advance Sigma's mission and vision through the creation of a virtual network of global nurse leaders. Phi Gamma is recognized in all 7 international regions, which encompass the 15 regions within North America. Since the chapter's formal address is that of the Sigma headquarters in Indianapolis, Indiana, USA, Phi Gamma takes action within North America, Region 9. As Sigma's only virtual chapter, Phi Gamma meets electronically, conducts all official chapter business virtually, and comes together in person for fellowship during the biennium, primarily during a Sigma event or in conjunction with
Sorry to
other
interrupt.
international meetings.
Dr. Gallagher, I think
While
the
some
video
chapters
is not
use virtual
showing, it's just the
platforms,
audio.
Phi Gamma is the Nursing Honor Society's only virtual chapter.
My
In
apologies.
part, its success is attributable to collaboration with educational institutions, public and private organizations, and other chapters.
Phi Gamma's award-winning efforts continues to be directed by chapter leaders who come from across the globe. All Phi Gamma collaborative projects are governed by Memoranda of Understanding. The process begins with the development of the project proposal. Phi Gamma has a formal recognition program, publishes the Virtual Vibes newsletter quarterly, provides virtual webinars through the Collaborative Continuing Education Consortium under a Memorandum of Understanding with Omicron Delta and Mu Xi at Large chapters of Sigma and Our Lady of Fatima University.
Engages in philanthropic activities to meet the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, in part through its Pay It Forward for Founders Day campaign, in which the chapter stimulates global community action events, supports the Phi Gamma Wave Project, Water Access Virtually Insured, subsidizes its Breath of Life initiative, sustains the Advance effort, advocating for a nurse-cherished Earth, and strengthens the chapter's Crib Crusade, care and restoration of infants through breastfeeding and breast milk banking. Takes part in the Sigma Day of Philanthropy and the Honor Society's Chapter Giving Club. In addition, chapter members have invested in the Heritage Society of the Sigma Foundation for Nursing.
In closing, I would like to express Phi Gamma chapter members' anticipation of additional successes in the coming decades as the chapter continues to represent excellence by reflecting a caring culture, respecting others with cultural humility, and responding to the demands for current, relevant contemporary practice approaches through collaboration.
More information about Phi Gamma, Sigma's only virtual chapter, is available on the chapter's Facebook page. And questions can be addressed to Phi Gamma chapter at gmail.com.
Thank you, and I'm so sorry that the screen didn't show throughout. I'll send Jason the link so that if anybody's interested, they can view it after the fact.
That's great, Rita.
Again, thank you so much on behalf of the chapter, Phi Gamma chapter.
And Irving, can you tell me a little bit more sort of about what the goals are sort of moving forward and ways that our region can sort of engage with Phi Gamma?
Phi Gamma is a virtual network of nurse leaders across the globe. And our activities is really focusing on sustainable development goals, like focusing on that, and also expanding our community outreach. And currently, we have ongoing, like we're focusing our efforts to with the collaborative. We call it collaborative, but more of the continuing professional development that we offer. But on top of it, like we're also really expanding our Pay It Forward for the Founders Day campaign, wherein, as mentioned in the video, that we have different flagship program of to mention of interest, that would be the Crib Crusade. Like we really solicit support from other chapters as well to improve health of mothers and babies through breast milk banking and breast milk for breastfeeding and breast milk banking. So we invite our colleagues from different regions as well as different chapters to have a collaboration with Phi Gamma, Sigma's only virtual chapter.
The largest
Um,
thing that
yeah.
we're doing under the Crib Crusade right now is we are working to establish a milk bank in the Philippines, which is where our primary service activities take place. The other component of the Crib Crusade that we are always looking for support for is our baby passport book, which right now we are working on two aspects. We're working to have the passport book translated into other languages. It's currently only in English. And we are also working on an electronic app so that moms can, or whomever, caregivers can take their phones with them for their appointments and add in whatever their pediatrician or nurse practitioner says into their app that they can then carry along with them on an ongoing basis. The collaborative currently includes Omicron Delta and Nu Xi at large, along with Our Lady of Fatima University. And we're always looking for, if nothing else, we're always looking for folks to attend our offerings. They are primarily once a month. We don't do June and July. And in December, the collaborative puts on the what we call iNurse, which is the Nurse Research Exposition. And so we right now have call for abstracts out for that. Our information is posted on our Facebook page so that you'll have advance notice of new things going on. But if there are projects that are outside of what we're already doing, as was mentioned in the video, we have a project proposal so that if other chapters would like our assistance or want to bring themselves into something that we could be helpful with, we ask that the proposal form be developed, and then the board of directors entertains that. The board meets monthly except for July and December.
So, one of the things I like everyone to know is that, when you're a part of Sigma, you can belong to more than one chapter. And, folks are more than welcome to attend, Phi Gamma's events, obviously, even if they don't have a chapter affiliation. But I think this is great with any students who might have an interest in global health, sustainable development goals. I'm always trying to connect the dots. And I think for all of our officers and leaders who are on the call tonight, one of the things is get this out to your chapter, get this out to students. It's a great way for them to maybe get a little bit more of that global health perspective than just what we're doing sort of in the region, but a way to participate, work on projects, and see what they're doing. So I'd like to open it up for anyone who may have questions in the gallery.
Rita, did you say, do you have a website?
Well, we have obviously the chapter website, phigamma.sigmanursing.org, but most of our postings, if you will, are on our Facebook page, Phi Gamma/virtual.
Thank you.
Karen, go ahead. You had a question?
Hi, sorry, my camera's not working on my laptop. It's probably because it's, a million years old. I just wanted to say, I love this so much, and I'm so impressed. The challenges of having a virtual only chapter, I'm sure are felt. but the fact that you guys are so deeply committed and engaged is just inspiring. And we have an at-large chapter and end up doing quite a few virtual events ourselves. We try and do some in person as well. And certainly during the pandemic, we were all virtual. So we all learned how to get pretty good at that. But I just wanted to say kudos to you guys. This is gorgeous.
Thank you. The other thing that I would recommend to you, we have what's called our Pay It Forward for Founders Day campaign, and all chapters can do this. We ask our members to tell us what they're doing in their own local areas, and then when they report that, we give them a certificate of appreciation for their contribution, but it also helps for the Key Award.
That's great.
So everybody can do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we have put the website and the Facebook link in the chat. Irvin, thank you so much for doing that.
You're most welcome.
Thank you so much for coming in. I would love to continue the relationship any way that we can participate. Have you come in on another town hall? If you let us know of events, we have a newsletter that will be going out, a regional newsletter in January. Feel free to pass on whatever information directly to myself. And this was great. Thank you again.
Fantastic. I'll send you, in addition to the link for the video, I'll send you our October newsletter, which has our activities through January 1. And then we start again in January. But there might be programs that people would be interested in taking part in.
All right, that's great. And please, you're more than welcome to stay on, but if you have to go, that's fine. Again, just thank you for putting this together. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I would like to stay on for a bit. I'm leaving for APHA in the morning, and it occurred to me that I haven't packed yet.
I was part of the public health nursing section, Rita.
Oh,
with
good.
All, when Lori Campbell was president for the section.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyway,
Oh,
have fun at APHA. Sorry to miss you this year.
Thank you.
All right, stay on. We're glad to have you on. All
Thank
right,
you.
can everyone see the next slide here on important dates? Hoping people can see that.
Yes, you're good, Jason.
Perfect. So tried to go chronologically here. Sigma Congress, their call for abstracts is coming up. I'm sorry, I think one question from Gert. Gert, did you have a question? Sorry if I missed that.
Nope, you're fine. I hit the wrong button.
Oh, no worries. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss that. So October 30th, call for abstract deadline for Congress. UN has applications due for October 31st. I just finished their Global Advocacy Academy that Sigma did and learned so much about the United Nations and Sustainable Development Goals. They have those academies offered usually, I believe, twice a year. But anyone, students who are interested in learning more about the UN, how that works, about being a representative, Sigma is, I think, one of, if not the only nursing organizations that have sort of a seat at the table with the United Nations. And how exciting is that? So, this has come out in multiple emails, but please look that up. I just saw in the chat that abstracts for Congress were moved to November 13th. So a little bit more time on that. November 14th is the Chapter Leader Connect. This is online, it's virtual and free. And for those of you who may not know about Chapter Leader Connect, this is a conference that Sigma puts on usually every other year and is a wonderful opportunity for chapter leaders in their chapter to learn more about how to engage their chapters. And for instance, if you're a part of leadership succession or you're president or treasurer, they usually have a lot of different sessions that will actually sort of speak to specific roles. So wonderful that they're offering it free and online. It's very informational, very well run. Please distribute this out to your chapter, to your officers. It would be great to have a good showing from our region. Then in December, election planning call for nominations. So my point is this, is that a lot of chapters are struggling with leadership connection, trying to get members involved. start planning now. If you can get out to your members that, you have open roles in your chapters, bring them in. Bring, new students, novice nurses, nurse leaders in. Think of your hospital and outpatient, inpatient settings. Think of those people that you could bring in and have them involved, if even in a small way. It's just one way to get them kind of started. And, obviously getting those call for nominations out, look at your sort of your ballot, who's up for a re-election, and getting that process started. I am leadership succession chair for my own chapter in Vermont. And if anyone has questions, would like to brainstorm, I am always available to assist. December 1st, we have the deadline for the nursing research and program grants. There's a lot of different programs and grants that are available. I will include a link to some of those, but if you go to the website, those are up now, and a good opportunity for money. Has anyone who's on the call tonight ever applied for one of the program grants? Please feel free to just talk to that. Rita, I saw your hand raised.
We worked with the Asia region, and also with Region 9 to put on regional conferences with the funding. And in general, it's $5,000. And sometimes that doesn't cover everything. So obviously you have to find some other funds, but the process is not onerous.
Yeah.
The application process is not onerous. Obviously, you have to have a good idea of who your speakers are ahead of time and what your costs are going to be. But I would highly encourage people to do it.
Well, and I think though that specifically, like we did for our symposium, we did the global scholarship fund. And I think for these program grants, these are some of these, there's more than that. These are for nursing research, nursing researchers, and different program grants for different colleges that, the amount of money spans from a few $100s to thousands. And a big part of that deadline is December 1st. So if anyone is interested in learning a little bit more, please let me know. But because that deadline is sort of coming up in December, I wanted to put that out there so people could at least start looking for that information and put it on their radar. And then December 13th, we have our Chapter Leader Consortium. I'm going to talk a little bit about that a little later on. And then December 11th, nominations are due for the 2025 Nurse Researcher Awards. December 15th, if anyone would like information from your chapters or to highlight events that you're doing in the chapter throughout the region, please submit those to me by December 15th if possible. Would love to highlight what we're doing throughout the region. And if you have any students that you'd like to highlight or nurse researchers and work that they're doing or projects, again, please let me know. And then the next Region 15 Town Hall will be on January 23rd, 2025. We're not doing one in December because we're going to be doing the Chapter Leader Consortium, and that will be a wonderful opportunity for our chapter leaders and officers to come together throughout the region. And we'll also have that available online as well. Any questions on any of those dates or information? Okay. So this is on Congress. I talked a little bit about that. They've, November 14th now for abstract calls. We've talked about the United Nations again. Says here apply by October 30th. This is some information on that. Then we have the Chapter Leader Connection. Again, that will be on November 14th. And the nursing research and program grants. Again, this is what the page looks like at Sigma. applications that they're accepting for. And as you can see, for the December 1st grant application deadline, they have small grants. They have 10 to 15 that they award annually, along with different collaborative and research grants. Just a wonderful way to support research that nurses are doing. And then the International Nurse Researcher Hall of Fame. And then again, the newsletter for December 15th. Any submissions that you have, feel free to forward those on to me.
Jason,
Yes.
this is Nancy. If I may also interject here that abstracts for presentation at the next convention, which is a year from November, are due by the 29th of this November. So if you have research or projects that you would like to present at the International Biennial Convention in Indianapolis in November 25, you have until the 29th of December. And there's a several page document that Sigma has put out in terms of what are the requirements for completing an abstract. So I just wanted to put that out there.
That's great. Thank you for mentioning that.
You're welcome.
So the link to register for the next, hands back. Not sure I can copy that. I was going to try to copy the link there, but not the next town hall, January 23rd, we'll be emailing that out. And then the ones for upcoming kind of agenda, sort of, so people sort of have things on their radar. The March town hall for the region, we'll be talking about sort of the elections process that chapters are having for their chapters, and call for abstracts for next year's Region 15 symposium. We'll be talking in May a little bit more about the symposium as time comes closer. And then August, we will have open, or hopefully registrations will be open. October 23rd, 2025 is when delegates need to be chosen for biannual of next year. And then biannual on the calendar for November 2025. So lots of things coming up, that's for sure. I would love anyone who's on. So we had our Region 15 Research Symposium in Providence at the Nursing Education Center. Just a great day of collaboration and networking. We have an upcoming orientation and information session on Wednesday, November 13th at 7 p.m. This is going to be an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the symposium, about the planning, learn about the subcommittees and work groups that we have to sort of get that work done for the symposium, and start planning for the planning committee for next year. I would definitely like for some people who maybe were at the symposium to just share a little bit of their experiences. And at the end, I would also like to introduce Karen McKenney, who is the president of my chapter, Omega Mu at Large, up in Vermont. And she'll be my co-chair for next year. So want to introduce her, but would love, just feedback from those who attended symposium this year.
I attended virtually, Jason, and I thought it was great. I mean, all the virtual stuff worked. I heard from some colleagues that it was a little bit hair raising on their end, but as a participant, and things seemed to go very smoothly. The breakout rooms, the EndNote, the keynote, they were all, very, very, very good speakers, and everything went very, very well.
Great. Yes, it was what when you're there in person, you don't know what it looks like for the virtual attendees. So that feedback is helpful. Gert, you had your hand up?
I do, and I apologize for not having my camera on. I'm in a hotel room and stuff like that, so forgive me. Anyway,
Okay.
I attended and actually really appreciated the conference. Although, traveling to Rhode Island was not my cup of tea. The And the connectivity with all of the participants was wonderful. My research partner traveled up from North Carolina where we were able to present together. And it was a great experience. Both of us learned a lot from the presenters. And in the end, we actually may have recruited a new perioperative nurse, which was incredible.
Oh, that's great.
Great.
Thank you for that feedback, Gert. I think Courtney, you're next.
Yeah, hi. So I attended in person, both as a participant. So I presented too. I thought it was really well done. It was intimate. The setting was beautiful. It seemed really thought out. I really appreciated being a presenter, to have the people who were running the technology for us. It was seamless. They would just kind of, when there were problems, they just pop in slowly on the podium and help. It really worked really, really well, I thought. So I thought it was a great place. Would love to take some of the ways that they managed it for the next one.
Great. And it was great seeing you there, Courtney, and looking forward to, are you gonna be on planning committee for the next symposium?
Yeah, it's in my calendar.
All right, perfect. Not put you on the spot. Any other questions or feedback from the gallery? All right. Karen, I know you can't, having some tech issues with camera, but I'd love for you just to introduce yourself as Omega Mu is hosting next year. And just if you want to share a little bit of yourself and your experience with Sigma would.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So my name's Karen McKenney. I've been a nurse at the University of Vermont Medical Center Hospital for 41 years. Currently the nurse manager in invasive cardiology in the cath lab, which I've been in for most of my career as a nurse and then as an educator. I joined Sigma in 2010 and was promptly recruited for the board and was a treasurer for about a decade. Back in 2019, actually 2017, 18, we decided that there were two schools in our state that were nearby, Vermont State University and Norwich University, who were interested in having a Sigma chapter. So we created a little nursing honor society, which is the process. And we joined together as a chapter at large and threw a bunch of events together. And then of course the pandemic hit in 2020, right after we got chartered as our very own chapter. So we got chartered in October of 2019 and then hit the pandemic. But we managed to carry on. We had a lot of great virtual events that first year. We continued to recruit and induct students. I think we're at 117 members now, which isn't bad considering we got started in the beginning of a pandemic. I've benefited so much from Sigma over the years, mostly just in terms of personal connections and inspiration from just the brilliant nurse researchers and nurses that are part of this organization. I'm really excited to work with Jason and all of you on the research symposium for next year. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
That's great, Karen. And I think we have a tentative date planned for Saturday, Saturday, October 4th.
Yeah.
3 venues that we are looking at right now. University of Vermont. There's a Doubletree Conference Center in Burlington, and then Killington Mountain Resort. We really, for venues that we have available in Vermont, that are going to be able to sort of accommodate the venue needs that we have for the symposium, those are the things that we're already looking at. So we have the majority of information from these 3 locations. We're going to put a spreadsheet together to just sort of compare the costs and consider the venue sites. And then once we sort of look at that, hopefully by the time we have our first planning committee meeting, which is typically in January, we'll already have that sort of decided, and then we can sort of move forward with what our theme for the conference, for the symposium is going to be, and, hopefully have a good amount of interest for people for the various subcommittees and work groups. And this is, Nancy Thompson, I think you've said it best when we use Erickson models. The symposium has come from infancy into adolescence, and we've grown, and we're doing the potential, the sponsorships we had this year. Delta Epsilon, I mean, they did such a phenomenal job. I mean, for us to be able to offer this symposium free to all students, I mean, what a wonderful opportunity to offer that. So we want the best talent to be part of the planning committee. This can't just fall on one chapter. This needs to encompass all of our region. And so I've already, people who were doing sponsorships this past year want to join on and help us bring that and get that stronger. Just so much wonderful potential. I think we can only go up from here. And so in the chat, I have put the link for the November 13th symposium information session that will be at 6 p.m. I would encourage your chapters, your officers, even your chapter members, if they want to get involved at the regional level, find out a little bit more, or just be involved. There is a space for everyone. So please spread that link along, and any other questions or that people have in regards to the symposium or planning, or for Karen?
I have kind of a comment or a question. I mean, I know you guys kind of live in that area, but as someone who has tried to travel up to Vermont and New Hampshire over Columbus Day weekend, I know the hotels sell out very, very early. The prices quadruple, and if you don't have a reservation very, very early, you don't get anything. So I hope you take that into consideration when you sort of timeline your planning.
Yes, and Columbus, what's the date for that for 2025?
I'm sure it's the week after.
It is. Yep.
I'm just guessing, but the
Yep.
4th is early for Columbus Day.
Yep. And, one of the things, as the symposium has historically been over the autumn, one of the things that we wanted to make sure is if we held it too late, all of our leaves are going to be gone. So anyone who wants to come up during leaf peeping season, we want to make sure they get some of that when they come up. But I think we missed that date. There's another big symposium, the Nursing Evidence-Based Research Symposium, but they're this time, like right now, they're holding their symposium, or early November. So we wanted to really take into consideration other symposiums that were happening throughout the year. So Columbus Day, Wendy put in the chat, is October 13th. So we've missed that. So we're good. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nancy.
And I agree with you, Sandra, because even if it's not Columbus Day weekend, the weekend before, as you had said, Jason, will be the height of your foliage. So we need to be moving very quickly to just not only decide our venue, but where we can get rooms, maybe a block of rooms, and then we'll save them for us, because I agree. And the other thing that I have said to Jason more than once is there better be a tour of the teddy bear factory in Burlington, so we can get a nurse teddy bear made or a Sigma.
I like that.
Teddy
and
bear.
Jason, I noticed, I mean, this year, you guys probably know this, but climate change is really impacting foliage up here in Vermont. We just had peak this weekend in Champlain Valley, and it's October 24th. I mean, literally, we just hit peak. Up in the Stowe area, it was peak last weekend. So really, the 3rd of October, we won't be in peak, but there's still this idea out there, across the country, like you mentioned, of people wanting to come for foliage, that it starts the first week in October. And it really doesn't anymore because of climate change. So, maybe, hearing all this feedback, maybe we should look at the last week in September as well, the last weekend in September as well, just to further avoid the hardship people would have both with cost and availability of hotel rooms.
Yeah, and I think, one of the things we're doing is that I think this is the earliest that we've chosen dates for the symposium. This is kind of, we've gotten a way head start on this, and we will definitely be having a committee that's, as we always do, looking at hotel blocks. And we're, it's hard to make everyone happy on a weekend, but we'll definitely be looking at all of that. And, and someone put in Ben and Jerry's. So maybe we got to look at Ben and Jerry's too. There we go. Any other questions or feedback?
No, I'd just like to also put a plug in for our continuing to focus and grow and develop our student body attendance. We were very blessed, if you will, to have one of our nursing students present her research, and she received the award for the best student presentation at the symposium, which has just been wonderful for her classmates, and for our College of Nursing. So I know that we will work on that, because I know you're committed to that as well, Jason, and I'm assuming that you are as well, Ms. McKinney, Karen. So I hope we can begin to look at maybe some other creative ways of trying to draw our students in, because the ones that were there were blown away by what they saw, the connections, the people, the research that's presented, the warmth, the camaraderie, the professionalism. And this is how we grow our future nurses and nurse researchers.
I love that, Nancy, 100%.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to share my screen again and move on. Okay. The Chapter Leader Consortium. Karen Cianci, are you on to talk about this?
Hi, I'm Karen Cianci. I'm the president of IOTA Phi at Large chapter, and that includes the UMass Graduate School of Nursing, Assumption University, Worcester State University, and Anna Maria College. So this year we are hosting it at Anna Maria College, the first time Chapter Leader Consortium. We have the event planned, and registration is through Eventbrite that Jason has so kindly set up, and it is working presently. So if you're interested in attending, we'd love to have you come. It'll be $10 if it's a virtual, if you're going to do it virtual, and we've decided on $20, which would include a continental breakfast when you arrive, and then a boxed lunch with different sandwiches and chips that day. And then the whole day will be from 9 to 3 is what we're planning on. Come earlier, obviously, for registration and the breakfast, and then the program would start at 9 o'clock. We have 2 sessions that we want to have for breakout sessions, including starting your chapter key award, and then also to do work on your strategic planning. So we would like to, Jason's vision for that day, but also our vision for that day, is that everyone would be able to get into these groups. We do have people coming from headquarters to instruct us as well, and that we can go away that day with some deliverables and to be able to collaborate together. This is the first time we're doing it. We hope that you can come. I also have reservations at 4:30 for approximately, we're thinking maybe 20 people. I've got 20 people that can come. We can order off of the menu at Val's Restaurant, which is right down the street in Holden. And if people just want to have dinner before they head out to go home, or leave for the day, that's optional. But the program runs from 9 to 3, and we will be able to give 4 CEUs that day. So we hope that you can come. Look forward to seeing you there, coming to Paxton. finding us in Massachusetts. It's
actually a beautiful campus. I did your keynote, I think, right?
Yeah.
And the vision for this, as Karen and I have been working on this, is we wanted an intimate setting to bring chapter leaders and officers together and leave with some key deliverables for your chapter. How do you do the chapter key award application? What do you need for that? Strategic planning for your chapter, or running elections. I think it's so much easier when you come together in a small group. And I think no matter, if we have 5 people, 10 people, or 20, I think it's just going to be a fun day for us to be able to be together. And we don't get that a lot. Sometimes we're doing symposiums and we're running all day, but this should hopefully be a break from that. So the QR code is on the screen. If you want more information, happy to send a link as well. Does anyone have any questions or feedback for this? And please just, pass this on to your other chapter officers and chapter leaders at your chapters. Even if you want to bring in a chapter member. Maybe you have a student or someone else who's interested in running for your board or being part of elections and want to come in. This is a great welcoming group of people, and offer that as an opportunity for them to come in and just learn what it's like to be a chapter leader or officer. We're going to be having that great dinner at Val's afterwards. They will be brought in and given the purple juice. So, but don't tell them what's in the purple juice. So we can't do that.
And I meant to say it's a hybrid event that it's not just in person, that we will be able to, you can attend, as I said, virtually, and we would ask $10 for that. So if you can't come to find us, but if you wanted to join on for the day, we would love to have that as well. Thank you.
All right. Committee updates. We'll go through. Heather, are you on?
Yeah, sorry, my video's off. I'm kind of there's something going on.
That's all right.
For updates, as in, I'm sorry, I'm kind of.
That's all right. Heather Breer, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, yeah, sorry, Heather. I should have specified. I wasn't sure if Heather Breer was on for communications and engagement.
Jason, this is Courtney. So Heather and I are coworkers. She did text me earlier and said that she couldn't make it tonight. She didn't give me any updates, so I apologize.
Okay.
But I know that she wasn't able to make it last minute.
Okay, no worries. I can speak a little bit to communications and engagement. We did a reach out, I think, to all chapter leaders. This was over the summertime to let them know about the symposium and upcoming events, especially the Chapter Leader Consortium. We are in the process. We got some good signups at the symposium for people who want to join. So we're going to be integrating them on. And if you want to join a committee, if you're on tonight and, even if you just have a small amount of time or just want to come and learn a little bit about what our 3 committees are doing right now, the QR code is on the screen. You can go there, complete that jot form, and one of our chairs will be in touch with you. Wendy, do you want to give an update about awards and recognition?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. So we met in September, and Jason has already spoken to almost all the points I would have given. So thank you, Jason. But I will reiterate. We did Region 15 Symposium. We're going over what was the judging of the presentations, Region 15 newsletter. We've had some very positive feedback about that. There'll be 3 newsletters going out per year, January, April, and August. And in the newsletter, there'll be key dates and strategically support and market the Region 15, all their events. We went over some of the review of the awards and recognitions for the Region 15 and for the Congress. And there's the Nurse Research Awards, Emerging Nurse Researcher and Scholar Award, and the International Nurse Researcher Hall of Fame, which Jason has gone over that very well. We're still developing an electronic nomination for the chapters to submit nominations. So that is not quite in its full way of it has not been completed yet, but we're working on it. The committee is having a regional recognition at the symposium and the non-biennial years in 2025 and 2026. So we're working on those regional recognitions. And we as a committee, as Region 15 Award and Engagement Committee, unanimously agree that we want a more formal and organized presentation of the key awards at the biennial. Let's see what else is going on. There's a lot going on in our committee. We will review the Clinical Healthy Work Environment Award. We're brainstorming ideas of how to integrate that into the region. We're working on the chapter leaders. We'll have a chapter key award application. So we're Karen, God bless Karen, with all her energy and hosting us in December. We'll be working on that together. And we'll be meeting in 5 meetings in 2025, January, April, July, September, and October. And I'll be sending out invites for the committee about a week prior to that. Any questions, concerns? Great.
Thanks for updating on that. And just to clarify, so, one of the things we want to do is we want to have recognition, regional recognition, not only at biannual, but also at the symposium and integrating that in. We're not going to be able to do it for next year's Region 15 symposium, but we're thinking in 2026, and that will follow. So we'll have regional recognition at biannual in November 2025, and then at the Region 15 annual symposium in the fall of 2026, we'll start to do some regional recognition at that event and leave some space for that. And then strategic planning. Cheryl Shields, are you on?
I am. Hello, everybody from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Nice to see everybody. And Karen, I want to tell you that I was a student at Anna Maria College as a biology major before I went into nursing.
Oh.
A very long time ago. I'm not going to tell you when because it's really very long. But, but I know, but I grew up in Spencer, so I know exactly where you are.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I will be attending virtually at the chapter leader consortium, but I will be there. But
all right, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing.
I'm really glad that we have the option of virtual.
Correct.
It's enabled me to be able to participate in a lot of the Sigma opportunities that are just too far away for me to do a day trip. So the strategic plan committee met August 29th, and our next one is coming up November 21st. And Jason, can I share my screen?
Yep, I'm going to stop sharing mine and I will go ahead. Go ahead. You can share.
Okay, I just have to find it. Here we go. So hopefully you can see this. I'm gonna don't look. I'm gonna make you dizzy. But I wanted to bring up the strategic plan and just a little bit easier for you to see it, and where looking at focusing on the outcomes and what we've accomplished and what we still have on the docket here. So under Pursue Excellence, I think Jason just mentioned also the research symposium, that we would have a research symposium for 2025 at the biennial convention. So those awards, those regional awards would be started late in 2026. So the next goal to showcase scholarly, innovative, and creative artistic work. We have not been able to accomplish that goal yet. I'm hoping that when we meet on the 21st, the committee can come up with, brainstorm some ideas of how to tackle that one. The next one is going to begin after 2025 biennium. And Nancy, I know you're on the call, but Nancy Thompson supplied me with a great update on the planning document, the toolkit for to be available for the annual Regional 15 Symposia. So I'm just going to quickly read down what she sent to me, which was that she and Jason collected data and documents from previous Region 15 chairpersons. And once they have finally debriefed about that, they are going to pull together all the information and develop the document for future Sigma Region 15 symposia. And the goal is to have this in place by early 2025. And Jason and Nancy are on the job coordinating that effort. So thank you for that. It's a lot going on there. And I believe I was virtual, but I believe we had a table, yes, at the Region 15 this year. So that's great. So that was a goal accomplished. And on promoting global health, we don't have a timeline on that. So I think that's another thing we want to try to get our arms around. But Jason, I had a thought on that. So I attended Sigma's Global Mini Academy on Global Advocacy last year. You said you just completed one?
Yes.
And I believe when Wendy's included me on an email exchange with Lindsay Dubois, who I think has either just completed, perhaps, maybe she was in your cohort, Jason, or she is going to. So what I'm thinking is that I'm assuming that you both also had a deliverable, a presentation at the end. So maybe what we could do is present those presentations at the town hall. We can maybe do one for the next 3 at least town halls, if you wish. That would be one way to share what we did on global advocacy, and that would help us meet that strategic plan goal, if you think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I love that. And I love just even that we brought in Phi Gamma, tonight and collaborating with them on what they're doing. And I think Rita and Irving might still be on, but we could certainly maybe work with them. But I love that. I think that's a perfect way to satisfy that, Cheryl.
Okay, great. And then for building partnerships, the strategic plan committee needs some input from you, Jason, on that. And just, if you have anything to add, we can put it in there.
Okay. And I think, oh, well, I'll let you go on and then I'll add some things in at the end.
Oh, that's all right. If you want to, I'm right here. I can type.
Yeah. So speak to me a little bit again, because so this is for RC communications and member engagement. I mean, I think that, and Courtney might be able to speak to this, or if Courtney, just if something comes to your mind, but I mean, we've engaged in so many ways, whether it was the phone call outreach that we did to all chapter leaders. And this, that was a great way to sort of highlight sort of get them to understand sort of the events that we had upcoming, just that personal connection. And we got such positive feedback from that. And let me look at the goals: strengthen partnerships and membership among Region 15 member chapters. I think, obviously the RC, my role is visiting all of the chapter leaders. I've done a good amount of outreach myself, just with all the presidents of chapters and engaging them in ways to connect with the symposium. And I think, what we're doing, changing the symposium moving forward, is bringing people in, part of the planning committee. Right? Like we're trying to bring, various chapters in and talent from across the region to help with the symposium moving forward, and getting them to engage. So I think I have a lot here, and I'm just thinking I can get that to you to put that in the document.
Yeah, I was just going to say maybe the most efficient way to do that is to put that into an email for me, and then I can transfer it into the document here. Thank you. That's great. Any updates on this last one, which is advanced resources of the region? I think you're in the process of establishing a consortium planning committee, right, for 2025?
So we have that. That's Karen is on that. Karen Cianci, myself, Nancy Thompson, and Cheryl Shields. I'm sorry, Cheryl Sabola.
Yeah.
So we have our committee. And we have the interaction from headquarters. And so outcomes will probably be after December 13th.
Okay, great. And then in that case, if you can send those names to me, the committee names, then I can put that in here too.
You got it.
All right. We were also talking about sharing our Chapter 15 events and engagement on the circle.
So this will be ongoing. And I think the takeaway message for everyone on the call tonight is that if you have resources on your events, or opportunities for other ways that chapters throughout the region can engage with your events, and to get those to myself, to put those in the Region 15 digest on the circle. The idea is we want to connect all of our events and support each other. And, so many chapters are doing such great things. I know that Beta Zeta at Large, they have a peer collaboration coming up on November 5th, and we put that in the symposium program. Those are ways that we're going to continue to try to engage the region. Is how can we put that in our Region 15 symposium? How do we work, and support chapters that way, either through our programs, as well as the region newsletter and at town halls. So this is going to be an ongoing, part of our strategic plan, is just making sure that we connect. The other thing, we now have a new Facebook page for the region. And if I think that was sent out to all chapter leaders in my email today, if you haven't yet, go on the Facebook page and join. And, that's another way for chapters throughout the region. If you have an event coming up or have an ask, maybe you have nurse researchers who are looking for, research partners or need surveys completed. These are all ways that we want to connect and support each other.
Great. I did type in some of what you said, Jason, and this is, as you know, a living document in Google. So if there's something I didn't capture there, and just can put it in there. Okay.
And I hope that chapters are sort of looking like, as Cheryl is doing this is what you can do with your own chapters, right? Like if you want a copy of this, we can send you a copy of this. This is a way to help guide what we're doing in the region, right? Our regional activities. And as Cheryl said, this is a living document. So this is a way for us as a community to come together in town hall format, to look at this when we do our updates, get feedback or thoughts from people. And I think as we move on, people will know how to integrate a little bit better probably, but that's sort of the idea behind it.
This is amazing. It's a great roadmap toolkit for any chapter in the region. I'm definitely curious about the mentorship program resources that you might have pulled into your strategic plan. So I think, Jason, sending this out to everybody would be great.
Jason, in this next section here, our first newsletter came out in August. How often do you plan to do those?
Right now, what we've tried to do is look at it strategically on our communications and engagement committee to say, when does it make sense, right? So January, it's a new year, kind of bring everyone back together after the holidays. Then again in April, a call for abstracts for the symposium, announcing the symposium dates, right? We want to use these tools, in a strategic way. And then again in August, people are coming back into school after having the summer off, and they're getting back to academia. It's another opportunity to support, open registration for the symposium. So right now it's 3 times a year, January, April, and August.
April. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. All right, and is there anything, any update on you said the website was established, the determination was to have a website for the symposium. And any update on how that worked?
Yep, so the website itself was functional, it worked well. We're going to keep the same website. The website is up, we have a domain, it's region15symposium.org. I can get that over to you, Cheryl. But all we're going to do is update it. We have the website. We've got the outline there. We're just going to update that. We have some great talent in the region. For anyone who might know Christian Gray, he's offered to help with that. So, you know, we've got a website already, and we're just going to continue to use what we have. And then, you know, maybe down the line, we start to look at, do we get another type of website if we want to do more with it? But for right now, that's what we have in place for next year.
Okay. So did I miss anything? Is there anything you want to add? Courtney, I know you're on the call and you're on this committee.
Yeah, I think you covered everything. It's been a little bit. I was refreshing myself. Oh yeah, we were doing that. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you,
And
Cheryl.
I'm going to stop sharing.
And the only thing I'll share is for strategic planning. So moving forward, I want our strategic planning committee to also not only look at the strategic plan, but I also want to be a strategic planning committee for the symposium. And that is, you know, we have a planning committee for the symposium every year that focuses just on the year symposium. But who's looking at 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years? Who's looking at the sustainability? Where do we want to go with the symposium? We need to have people who are part of, you know, a committee that are actually looking at forward thinking, because all of our energy sometimes is just on the here and now, but we need to think about, we have a 10th year anniversary coming up in 2028. What do we want to do for the 10-year anniversary? I don't want to be thinking about those things, you know, in the year. We need to think a little bit more forward. And so I guess my ask for the strategic planning committee is, this has shifted, and, you know, but that's my ask, is can we move to not only be focused on our strategic plan? Now we've got the strategic plan sort of done. It's a living document. Can we as a committee focus on staying the course with that, you know, document? Because that was really the one big ask, right? Is that let's create a document. We got that. And now we have that in place and we can move forward and update it. Can we now move towards, and maybe it's a task force or something within the strategic planning committee, but can we be forward thinking with the symposium? Because that has such amazing potential. It's already well run, but there's things that we can improve on. And so that's sort of the ask. And my hope is that we can bring people in from, you know, this call who might be interested in wanting to focus on that specifically, where we can change those gears. So any thoughts on that, or people thinking that that's a good idea, bad idea, or, you know, what challenges might be?
Well, Nancy and Deb are on, and Courtney. I don't know that Rita is from the strategic plan committee, but you and Nancy have done quite a bit of work on the toolkit. So maybe it's a matter of getting us all together at another meeting and talking about what we think we can do. Does that sound like a starting point?
Perfect starting point. I think we can save that, you know, till later in the year or at the beginning of the year in January, you know, and just start brainstorming and collaborate how that might look moving forward. And then I can share the toolkit that we've put together.
Okay.
I think, Jason, the other thing that might be helpful along with the toolkit, which I'm not completely familiar with what's in that, but, you know, a real orientation as new leaders come on board, because it's a rotating, you know, leadership at the helm of our chapters and at the helm of the Region 15 coordinator role as well, that, you know, having a toolkit and an orientation as new people come on board might serve you. You know, whether there'll be somebody still on this committee 10 years from now is a little bit hard to predict, but a good orientation would be helpful.
So to that point, Karen, that's what November 13th is. So November 13th, that link I put in the chat is for people to orient to the symposium, the planning committee, and what sort of to expect for the year ahead. It will have important target dates. So that November 13th date is exactly that.
Perfect. And
All
and
right.
it's an ongoing orientation plan, not just year by year.
Well, it's for anyone who's coming into the planning committee for like this year, right? So
Yeah.
for Omega Mu and anyone who wants to be on the symposium planning committee for this year,
Right.
that's the important one they want to attend because it's
Right.
going to go over the symposium, the target dates, and the various roles that people want to do for the symposium.
Right. Right. But that orientation night could begin then used next year with the
Yes,
group that works on the symposium next year. That is my
exactly.
point, is that it's sort of
Yep.
a living orientation.
Exactly. And the other thing I will say, and that I feel very strongly about, is I think that the chair, it just falls into place that I'm RC right now and I'm at my home chapter that's hosting. I'm chair, Karen is co-chair. I think moving forward, the regional coordinator needs to be the chair for the symposium. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, the regional coordinator is a vetted and elected position. As a region, when you select your regional coordinator, my hope is that I get to serve at least one more term with you all. We'll see. But my hope is that, after I move on, the region needs to look at who do you select as your next regional coordinator? What are the skill sets? Do they have the organizational skill sets, delegation? Do they share the vision of what this symposium is and where this is going? And that way there's continuity. Because every year, if you just hand this and toss this to another chapter that might raise their hand and not understand what all of this is, you're not having that continuity. And someone who's already been in the role, maybe the next regional coordinator has been a part of the planning committee for a few years and they have those leadership skills. And as a region, you can say, I know this person's going to see the vision of what we are doing as a region and are going to carry that forward because it's a big ask for an individual chapter. Just think of your own chapters right now. There's so much work that you're doing and trying to coordinate, and you can't just throw this onto a chapter that has such a big undertaking for this symposium, which is a lot of work. I think that will be a better model moving forward.
Jason, just a few little comments. For this last symposium, Emily Hayes, who was the chairperson, was on the planning committee for the previous two, and I was on the planning committee for the previous one. And knowing who's going to host in the next 2, 3, and 4 years, I would really encourage those chapters to send people to the planning committee 1 or 2 years prior. I think that's really important. But I also think it's important, I think going into next year's with you and the chapter co-chairing, because you have the leadership for the region, but that chapter knows the people who are going to be on the ground running to make the day happen.
Yep.
And I think that having a co-chair responsibility might be a good way to look at it too.
And that's what Karen's role will be because she's from our home chapter.
Right.
And so absolutely. I mean, my feeling is regional coordinator chair, the co-chair needs to be from that chapter because they know that population. And also, and to your point on the planning committee, absolutely. I've already reached out to the next 2 chapters who are on the slate to host in the next 2 years to join. And so we will have people from that. And last year we had Julie Jones and myself, obviously, on this year's planning committee for Omega Mu, but excellent point.
Yeah, if I might also interject here too, I see 2 levels here. I think Jason and others of you have alluded to it. There's the toolkit, if you will, that we're developing that will be the how-to, the process stuff, which will be also a living document because it's going to change as we change, as technology changes. But these are the essential components of how to organize and run the symposium. Then there's the other level where we're going to be looking at the vision, as Jason has said, in the future, how and involving people who are, like, say, as you have already done, Jason, 2 or 3 years down the road, that they become invested and involved sooner than later so that they get a feel of the dynamics that go on. And absolutely having a co-chair from, as you said, Sandra, from the chapter, because they know the locals, they know the local stuff. And that's really a very nice component. I found that your venue was just amazing. What a beautiful building you have. But it was all the additional touches that you had from the area that was really nice. And you showcase your colleges of nursing, and we need to do that in our chapters and what we're doing. So there's a lot of work to do, but it can all be done. And you know that the fact that we're recognizing this, when I look back to what happened in 2018 and what's happening now, is just, as I said, we went from infancy to adolescence. And so now we're kind of struggling with where are we going? What's our identity? What we're going to do? And then we're going to grow up and we'll probably be a role model for the other regions in the future, near future.
I'm excited. I think the level of engagement that we have in our region and everything that we've been focusing on, I think it's exciting. I think, you know, things I think will only go up from here. Any other thoughts or comments or feedback?
Joseph, I'll just jump in and just say, so the strategic plan committee will meet again, as I said, in November. And what we can do then is look at the calendar and see when we might pull together a meeting to look at the strategic plan for the Region 15 symposium. Is that okay?
Perfect. And anyone who's on the call now who wants to join in on that, please let me know, reach out. We'd love to have you be a part of the group. And other than that, the only other thing I had on my agenda was planning successful elections, but I'm looking at the time. It's 8:20. I think planning successful elections, we're going to be talking more about that. I think the Chapter Leader Consortium would be a great place to learn a little bit more about that. Again, that's on Friday, December 13th. If anyone needs the link or on Eventbrite, again, just reach out. I did put that in my email that went out today, so you should have all those links and information. But just so thrilled for everyone coming out. I'm going to stay on for a little while longer. For anyone who wants to stay on, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.